Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors, and thanks for tuning in for this week's fishing report. If you guys like these fishing reports, please do us a favor, hit that like button. It goes a long way in helping push these videos out to as many people as possible. But with that being said, let's dive into this week's report. We're going to start out on Leech Lake. I talked to the guys from Leech Lake Guide Team LLC, and they said the perch and walleye are on fire right now. They're in their fall patterns, they're moving up shallow, and they're getting them on jigs and a minnow. Now the depths to target the walleyes is at 4 to 10 feet. Look for shallow weed lines and shallow gravel transitions. Now they said look on the wind-blown shorelines, and if you can find a combination of that structure and the wind blowing into that shoreline, you're gonna hammer the walleyes right now. Now as far as what they're using, they're casting a 1/16 or an 1/8 ounce jig tipped with a rainbow, a creek chub, or a red tail shiner. Now they said you can either cast, drift, or troll for them. They're picking them up all three ways. They're getting a lot of eater size fish and a lot of nice fish to take pictures of, but then release back into the lake. Now, if you want to chase the perch right now, the perch are up shallow. They're in the shallow weed bays such as Sucker Bay, Cavacona, North Walker, Agency, up in 4 feet of water, tucked up in the weeds, but they're throwing the jigs just like for the walleyes. You can use a fathead, a rainbow, or a red tail. If you use a little bit bigger of a minnow, you're going to weed out some of them smaller fish and put a lot more jumbos in the boat. Now as far as bass, pike, muskie, I didn't get any info on those this week. They're really busy chasing those walleye and perch, but I'm sure if you look around you can still catch all of those other species. Now, if you're looking for a guide out there, you can go ahead, look them up on their website, Leech Lake Guide Team LLC. You can give Austin a call, book that trip. The bite's gonna only get better from here on out, and don't miss your chance to go catch some beautiful fish. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Leech Lake, we highly recommend Horseshoe Bay Lodge. They got cabins, hotel rooms, full bar and restaurant, marina, live bait, whatever you need, they can help you out there. And it's a beautiful place up there. Now, before we move on, I want to tell you they are switching up who's going to run ice castles out of the resort this winter. Only Outdoors, Tanner, he's going to be running ice castle rentals out of their place. We'll put a link to his Facebook page, his phone number. Go ahead, give them a call. If you want to stay in a nice ice castle out there this winter, go ahead, make a reservation as soon as possible. And if you do, please let them know that you saw it on Livin MN Outdoors. Moving over to the Pines Resort on Lake Winnibigoshish now, I talked to Chad from the Pines Resort and Scott from zupsguideservice, and they said the fishing is still really steady. The walleyes, they're still getting them in 4 to 8 feet of water. Shoreline breaks, weed lines, they're starting to get them more on a jig and a minnow, but he said be prepared to pull a spinner as well. Now as far as what they're throwing, 1/16 to a 1/4 ounce jig head tipped with a fathead, a shiner, or a rainbow. You can cast, drift, troll, and if you're not picking them up on that jig and a minnow, switch over to spinners and pull a minnow behind a spinner, and you'll probably catch fish that way as well. Now they said the perch are finally schooled up. They're catching them in shallow, 4 feet of water, tucked up in the weeds. They're throwing jigs at them. You can throw a slip bobber at them. They're really hungry right now, and they're catching really nice batches of perch. Now as far as the crappies go, he said that they are picking up a few scattered crappies, and some of them are really big. He said those are just scattered in and amongst the weeds. Really hard to target any good schools of them right now, but you stand a good chance of catching one if you're up in those weeds chasing the perch. Now the pike fishing has slowed down. He said they're not catching as many numbers, but they're catching some really big pike right now. So if you want a chance at a nice mid-30s or bigger pike, follow those weed lines. They're chasing all the other fish that are up there right now, and you might have a chance at a really nice pike. Now, as far as muskie fishing goes, muskie fishing has still been pretty steady. Battle Point, Tamarack Point, those are good areas to start looking. Casting topwaters, bucktails. Now you can probably start soaking a giant sucker minnow below a bobber. That's always an exciting way to catch a muskie, and really effective as well. Now, if you're looking for a guide up on Lake Winnibigoshish, Scott from zupsguideservice, he is going to be done as of October 1st. Chad said you can still give him a call. He'll do his best to find a different guide for you if you really need one. But the Pines Resort, they're going to remain open. They're going to have their cabins open, full bar, full restaurant, whatever you need, live bait, marina. They got it. They'll help you out, and he can direct you on where to catch those fish. Now, Chad wanted me to mention they are overhauling their ice access this year. In the past, people have been a little leery because it's kind of steep. They're doing a huge overhaul on that. They're going to try and make it more gradual, wider, so those big trucks and ice castles can make it down and back up safely. So look forward to that this winter. Now, if you're looking to rent an ice castle out there, zupsguideservice, he's going to have his ice castles out there. He's constantly moving them, keeping them on the active fish. So if you want to get up to Lake Winnie, stay in an ice castle, stay nice and warm, be comfy, go ahead and call Scott from zupsguideservice. Okay, now Mille Lacs Lake. I talked to Jeff from Castles Resort over in Isle Bay. He said the fishing is still really good out there. He said they're finding those fish in 14 to 22 feet of water. He said the deeper fish, they're still pulling lead core with crankbaits and catching a variety of different sizes. Now, if you want to fish them with a jig and a minnow, get up on the rock reefs, pitch a jig and a minnow up there, anywhere from a 1/16 to a 1/4 ounce jig. Tip that with a rainbow, a fathead, a shiner, creek chubs. In those walleyes are really starting to hit that jig and minnow bite. They are also pulling in a lot of nice perch along with those walleyes, that same depth, 14 to 22 feet. And they're catching a lot of smallmouth bass along with them. They haven't specifically been targeting the smallmouth bass, but right now the live bait for the smallmouth bass is really working good. So if you want to get on some mixed bag fishing, go up Isle Bay and throw a jig and a minnow or a slip bobber and a leech. Now, Castles Resort is still running their launch out of there, so if you're interested, go ahead, give them a call. Make sure you book it in advance. It's $35 a person. They provide the rod and reel, the live bait. They got handicap accessible restroom on the boat. It's a blast to go up there, hang out with friends and family, and catch a bunch of nice fish. Now, they are offering cabins at a discount right now. I believe it's 40 to 50% off select cabins. So if you want to stay up there in a cabin, whether you're going fishing or you're just up there to see the leaves changing color around the lake, it's a great time to get up there and you can save some money on a cabin. Now, they're also taking reservations right now for their skid houses, day houses, wheelhouse rentals. They're starting to fill up through January, so if you want to get one of their good select days, you better start thinking about planning that and getting those reservations made. All right, now moving to Mark from the Norseman Guide Service. He's been on vacation for the last week or so he hasn't been out fishing. So he couldn't give me a whole lot of information on the smallmouth bite. But from what he knows, he figured 8 to 20 feet of water, find those boulders, find the rock transitions. You can throw a wacky rig drop shot. You can pull crankbaits. The Ned rig is still working. But if you're looking for a guided trip up there, Mark will be guiding for a few more weeks here. So go ahead, give Mark a call and book that trip as soon as possible. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you tuning in. If you guys would, hit that subscribe button. Like I said before, hit the like button. Goes a long way with helping push the videos out to more people. Appreciate all your support throughout this season. We're probably going to be wrapping up the fishing report the middle to end of October until the early ice reports start coming out. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on that. But hope you get out fishing, have fun, be kind at the boat ramp, but most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.